When the Weimar Republic collapsed, Germans burned stacks of worthless marks to stay warm because firewood cost less than the paper currency. In Zimbabwe's hyperinflation, people traded raw copper wire for food because metal held value while trillion-dollar bills bought nothing. Currency dies the same way in every collapse, gradually, then suddenly. And when it does, raw materials become the medium of exchange because they have intrinsic utility that can't be printed away. Here are 11 raw materials that become currency when dollars die. Because when paper loses value, people trade in substances that solve real problems, and the person holding those substances controls the new economy. If you want to know what to stockpile before currency collapse makes these materials impossible to acquire, hit subscribe now. I break down the trade items that work when money doesn't, the materials that have been currency for thousands of years and will be again. Number 11, copper wire and scrap. The universal material that powers modern life. Copper is the most stolen metal during economic crisis. Not gold, not silver, copper. Because copper wire makes electrical systems function, and electrical systems run everything from water pumps to generators to lighting. When supply chains break and new copper becomes unavailable, scrap copper becomes more valuable than currency. Here's why this matters. Every electrical repair requires copper. Every jury-rigged power system needs copper wire. Every improvised water pump depends on copper wiring in motors. When you can't buy new wire and existing systems break constantly, the person holding copper scrap can trade for anything. During the Great Depression, copper thieves stripped wiring from abandoned buildings because copper traded directly for food. In modern Venezuela, copper theft is so rampant that electrical infrastructure is being dismantled by people who need to eat. Power companies can't keep substations wired because scrap. Copper is worth more than the risk of getting caught. The mechanism is simple. Copper has infinite reusability. Melt it down, reshape it, use it again. Unlike food that gets consumed or fuel that burns, copper trades repeatedly while maintaining utility. A pound of copper wire today trades for maybe $3. During collapse, that same pound trades for $30 worth of goods because nobody has it and everyone needs it. Here's the practical application. Buy copper wire in bulk now while it's cheap. Electrical supply stores sell solid copper wire for $2 to $4 per pound. Spend $500, get 150 to 200 pounds, store it properly, and you're holding functional currency that appreciates as the dollar dies. The trade psychology is perfect. Copper is instantly recognizable. Everyone knows what it is. Nobody questions its value. Unlike strange barter items that require explanation, copper wire is self-evident utility. When someone needs to fix their generator and you have the wire, they'll trade food, tools, or services without negotiation. Number 10, salt. The preservation material that kept civilizations alive before refrigeration. Roman soldiers were paid in salt. That's where the word salary comes from. Salt wasn't decoration, it was survival. Before refrigeration, salt was the only way to preserve meat and fish for more than a few days. When modern systems break and refrigeration becomes unreliable or unavailable, salt becomes currency again. Here's why this matters. Food preservation determines who eats through winter and who starves. Fresh meat lasts days, salted meat lasts months, fresh fish spoils overnight, smoked and salted fish feeds families through lean seasons. The person who can preserve food survives, the person who can't loses everything to rot and waste. During every historical collapse, salt prices spike first. In the Civil War, Confederate salt sold for $1,000 per sack in today's dollars. During China's salt shortage in the 1940s, salt became more valuable than silver by weight. People traded family heirlooms for enough salt to preserve a harvest. The mechanism is necessity. You can live without many things. You can't live without preserving food when there's no refrigeration. And salt is the universal preservation method that works for everything. Vegetables, meat, fish, salt it, and it keeps. Here's the practical application. Buy food-grade salt in bulk now. Restaurant supply stores sell 50-pound bags for $15 to $25. That's 50 cents per pound for a material that will trade for $20 per pound during collapse. Spend $200, get $400 to 500 pounds. That's enough to preserve thousands of pounds of food or trade for whatever you need. The storage advantage is massive. Salt doesn't expire, it doesn't degrade, it doesn't attract pests. Store it in a dry location, and it works identically in 20 years. You're holding currency that literally can't go bad. Number 9, isopropyl alcohol in bulk, the antiseptic that prevents infections when antibiotics run out. 99% isopropyl alcohol is medical-grade antiseptic, fuel additive, solvent, and disinfectant. During collapse, when antibiotics become unavailable or unaffordable, alcohol is the difference between a cut that heals and an infection that kills. Here's why this matters. Minor injuries become life-threatening without proper disinfection. Antibiotics expire within 2 years. Hospitals become inaccessible or unaffordable. The person who can prevent infection by properly cleaning wounds becomes the medical resource everyone needs. During World War II, alcohol was so valuable that distilleries were nationalized to ensure military medical supply. In modern survival scenarios, alcohol is the first medical supply that disappears from stores because everyone understands its critical utility. The mechanism is versatility. Isopropyl alcohol disinfects wounds, sterilizes equipment, cleans surfaces, removes adhesives, and serves as emergency fuel. One bottle solves 20 different problems. When you're trading it, you're not selling single-use items, you're selling solutions. Here's the practical application. Buy 99% isopropyl alcohol in gallon containers now. Chemical supply stores and online retailers sell it for $20 to $30 per gallon. Spend $300, get 10 to 15 gallons. During collapse, 1 gallon trades for goods worth $200 to $300 because medical supplies command premium pricing when lives are at risk. The trade advantage is immediate need. When someone has an injury, they need disinfection now, not tomorrow. They'll trade whatever you ask because the alternative is infection. You're not exploiting emergency, you're solving it, and the person with the solution controls the trade. Number 8, bar soap and soap-making materials, the sanitation essential that prevents disease outbreaks. Soap isn't luxury, it's disease prevention. When sanitation systems fail, soap becomes the barrier between health and epidemic. Cholera, dysentery, and typhoid spread through poor hygiene. Soap stops transmission. Modern society assumes unlimited soap availability, but soap production requires industrial supply chains. When those break, soap disappears within weeks. During the Great Depression, families made their own soap because commercial soap was unaffordable. In Venezuela, bar soap sells for $8 to $12 when monthly wages are $4. The mechanism is daily necessity. People can skip meals. They can't skip hygiene without getting sick. 1 bar lasts maybe 2 weeks. They'll need more next month and the month after. Buy bar soap in bulk now. Warehouse clubs sell it for 50 cents to $1 per bar. Spend $200, get $200 to 400 bars. During collapse, each bar trades for goods worth $10 to $20 because hygiene is non-negotiable. The alternative is soap-making materials. Lye costs $5 per pound. Animal fats are free if you know where to source them. Learn soap making now, and you're manufacturing currency from inputs that cost almost nothing. Number 7, cooking oil and animal fats, the calorie-dense essential that makes food edible. Fat is the most calorie-dense food available, 9 calories per gram versus 4 for carbohydrates. When people are doing physical labor and food is scarce, they need fat to maintain energy. Cooking oil becomes premium trade currency. Your body needs fat for hormone production, vitamin absorption, and sustained energy. During food scarcity, people crave fat because their bodies demand it. During World War II rationing, Butter and lard were among the most restricted items. The mechanism is biochemical need. Humans need fat to survive. When it's unavailable commercially, the person holding cooking oil controls access to an essential nutrient. Coconut oil and olive oil store for years if kept cool and dark. Restaurant supply stores sell gallon containers for $15 to $30. Buy 20 gallons for $400. During collapse, 1 gallon trades for goods worth $100 to $150. Animal fats require rendering, but can be sourced from butchers practically free. Learn to render lard or tallow, and you're creating trade currency from waste products. Number 6, charcoal and activated carbon, the filtration and fuel source hiding in plain sight. Charcoal is water filtration, air purification, medical treatment for poisoning, and long-burning heat source. Activated carbon filters remove contaminants from water. When municipal systems fail, charcoal becomes essential. Water purification determines survival. Boiling kills pathogens, but doesn't remove chemicals. Charcoal filtration does both. During emergencies, activated carbon filters sell out immediately. When supply chains break, stores don't restock. The mechanism is dual purpose. Charcoal burns hotter and longer than wood with minimal smoke, and it filters water. One material, multiple critical uses. Buy hardwood lump charcoal, not briquettes. Lump charcoal costs $1 to $2 per pound. Buy 200 pounds for $300 during collapse. Charcoal trades for 5 to 10 times purchase price. Activated carbon costs more but has higher filtration capacity. Buy it from aquarium suppliers. 5 pounds costs $30 to $50 and purifies thousands of gallons. Number 5, fabric and durable cloth, the material that becomes clothing, bandages, filters, and shelter. Fabric is functional necessity during collapse. Clothing wears out. Bandages get used, filters need replacing. The person holding durable fabric holds solutions to multiple survival problems. Modern clothing is designed to last 2 years. During extended crisis, clothes fall apart, and replacement becomes impossible when manufacturing stops. During the Great Depression, families cut up feed sacks to make clothing because fabric was unaffordable. The mechanism is universal utility. Fabric becomes bandages for medical care, filters for water purification, insulation for warmth, patches for repair, and shelter material. One bolt of cloth solves dozens of problems. Canvas, denim, and cotton duck are most versatile. Fabric stores sell them for $5 to $15 per yard. Buy 100 yards for $800. During collapse, 1 yard trades for goods worth $50 to $100 because it's irreplaceable. Fabric stacks compactly and doesn't degrade if kept dry. A closet holds thousands of dollars in trade value. Number 4, sugar in bulk, the preservation material and fermentation base that's pure tradable energy. Sugar is 3 things simultaneously: preservation method for fruit and vegetables, fermentation base for alcohol production, and pure caloric energy when food is scarce. Sugar preserves food without refrigeration: jam, jelly, candied fruit. When refrigeration fails, sugar becomes the alternative preservation system. Sugar also ferments into alcohol, which is antiseptic and trade currency. During World War II, sugar was so tightly rationed that black markets emerged at 5 to 10 times face value. Venezuela sees sugar selling for $15 per pound when available. The mechanism is energy and versatility. Sugar is pure calories. 1 pound is 1,700 calories. That's nearly a full day's caloric need. Buy white sugar in 50-pound bags from restaurant suppliers. Cost is $25 to $35 per bag. Buy 10 bags for $300. Store it sealed in a dry location. Sugar doesn't expire. During collapse, sugar trades for 10 to 20 times purchase price because it's preservation, fermentation, and energy in one material. Number 3, propane and butane in refillable containers, the fuel that works when everything else fails. Propane doesn't degrade, it doesn't evaporate, It works in freezing temperatures, and it stores indefinitely in sealed containers. When gasoline goes bad after 6 months and wood fuel requires constant labor, propane is the perfect long-term energy storage. Here's why this matters. Heating and cooking require fuel. Wood requires cutting, splitting, and storage. Gasoline spoils and requires stabilizers. Propane just works. Fill a tank today, use it 20 years from now, same performance. During the Texas freeze of 2021, propane tanks sold for $200 that normally cost $40. That's 5x normal pricing during a temporary crisis. During prolonged collapse, propane becomes the premium fuel because it's reliable, portable, and long-lasting. The mechanism is energy density and stability. One 20-pound propane tank contains about 430,000 BTUs. That's enough energy to cook meals for a family for weeks or provide heating for days, and it doesn't lose capacity sitting in storage. Here's the practical application. Buy refillable 20-pound and 100-pound propane tanks now. Fill them at current prices. 20-pound tanks cost $50 to fill. 100-pound tanks cost $150 to $200. Buy 10 tanks of mixed sizes for $1,500. During collapse, each filled tank trades for goods worth $500 to $1,000 because fuel is survival. The trade advantage is divisibility. Unlike a 500-gallon propane tank that's not movable, 20-pound tanks trade individually. You can trade one tank without committing your entire fuel supply. That's functional currency with flexible denominations. Number 2, heirloom seeds in sealed storage, the renewable resource that produces food indefinitely. Seeds are the only currency that regenerates itself. Every other material on this list gets consumed and needs replacement. Seeds produce food that produces more seeds. One packet creates infinite food supply if you know what you're doing. That makes seeds the ultimate long-term currency because they compound. Here's why this matters. Food production determines survival. The person with food controls everything, and the person with seeds controls future food production. When you trade seeds, you're not trading one meal. You're trading the capability to produce thousands of meals. During famines throughout history, seed grain was more valuable than food grain. Eat your seeds, and you survive this season, but starve next season. Plant your seeds, and you eat forever. Governments that confiscated food always left seed stores intact because even they understood that seed checkered future survival. The mechanism is multiplication. One tomato plant produces 20 to 40 tomatoes. Each tomato contains 100 to 300 seeds. One plant becomes thousands of plants if you save seeds properly. That's exponential wealth creation from a $3 seed packet. Here's the practical application. Buy heirloom seeds, not hybrids. Hybrids don't reproduce true. Heirloom seeds create identical plants. Generation after generation, seed companies sell them for $2 to $5 per packet. Buy 100 packets across different vegetables for $300. Store them in sealed containers in cool, dry location. Most seeds remain viable for 3 to 10 years. During collapse, one heirloom seed packet trades for goods worth $50 to $100 because it represents permanent food security. You're not selling consumables, you're selling the means of production. That's why seeds are second on this list. Only one material beats seeds as currency. Number 1, alcohol, specifically grain alcohol and ethanol, the universal solvent, fuel, antiseptic, and social currency that's been valuable for 10,000 years. Alcohol is the perfect currency because it's universally desired and universally useful. It disinfects wounds, preserves tinctures, fuels engines, trades socially, and serves as baseline for producing other materials. Every culture in history has valued alcohol. It's the closest thing to universal currency that exists outside precious metals. Here's why this matters. Alcohol has more uses than any other liquid. Medical antiseptic when you can't get commercial disinfectants, fuel additive that makes gasoline last longer, solvent for making tinctures and extracts, social lubricant that people crave during stressful times, and pure trade currency that needs no explanation. During Prohibition, alcohol smugglers became millionaires overnight because demand never disappeared. In modern Venezuela, a bottle of rum trades for a full month's groceries. That's not because Venezuelans are alcoholics, it's because alcohol is functional currency with clear utility. The mechanism is versatility and desire. Alcohol solves medical problems, mechanical problems, and psychological problems. The person holding alcohol holds solutions to the three biggest problems humans face during crisis: health, function, and morale. Here's the practical application. Everclear is 95% ethanol. It's legal in most states and stores indefinitely. Buy it for $20 to $30 per liter. Spend $500, get 20 to 25 liters. During collapse, 1 liter trades for goods worth $200 to $500 because it's antiseptic, fuel, and social currency in one bottle. The alternative is learning distillation. A basic still costs $200 to $500. Sugar, water, and yeast create wash. Distill it, and you're producing currency from $20 of inputs that trades for $500 in goods. That's 25x return on materials, and the process is repeatable indefinitely. The legal considerations matter. Distilling alcohol without permits is illegal in most jurisdictions, but during collapse, when government authority breaks down, legal considerations become secondary to survival. The person who can produce alcohol produces the most tradable currency available. Why raw materials beat finished goods? Finished goods get consumed and disappear, but raw materials have utility that transcends technology. Copper wire works whether society is functional or collapsed. Salt preserves food regardless of government stability. The pattern across every collapse is identical. Sophisticated goods lose value. Raw materials gain value. During hyperinflation, German marks bought nothing, but copper, salt, and alcohol traded directly for food and shelter. What separates materials that work as currency from materials that don't? Universally recognized utility. Everyone knows what copper is for. Divisibility. You can trade 1 bar of soap without committing your entire stockpile. Durability. These materials don't expire. The time to acquire raw materials is before currency collapse makes them unaffordable. Copper is $3 per pound. Salt is 50 cents per pound. When currency dies and supply chains break, these materials reprice to scarcity value. Copper becomes $30 per pound. Salt becomes $20 per pound. Spend $3,000 acquiring raw materials now. During collapse, those materials trade at 10 to 50 times current value. Your $3,000 becomes $30,000 to $150,000 in trade value. And unlike stocks or bonds, raw materials maintain utility regardless of economic conditions. Subscribe because next week I'm breaking down the specific quantities to stockpile for each material, the best storage methods to prevent degradation, and the exact trade ratios that emerge during historical collapses, so you know what each material is actually worth when dollars die. See you then.